Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today we just got some new Morganite cards. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come part of notification squad, and definitely check the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out these new Morganite cards. So first off, these cards are actually going to be released in Duelist Advance, which is really cool. But let's go ahead and check out these new Morganite cards, and actually they are a part of an awesome lore as well. So first off, let's take a look at these cards' artwork. So these are actually the two new Morganite cards, and they look absolutely phenomenal. But I will point you guys in the direction to take a look at her hand. This is actually a big lore aspect of the Diabellstar lore, because this card is actually featured on Play the Diabell, because you see the same claws right here. This is the same monster, which is actually really cool. And fun fact to you guys, she actually saved Elzet from the Azamina because she turns into Moa Regina. Just for you guys, for a little bit of lore today, I thought that was really cool because you can actually see it right here. She actually saves basically Elzet on the Play the Diabell card and turns into Moa Regina, which is just so cool. Which later on, Diabell's actually has the same hand on her artwork, which is really neat. So let's go ahead and check out and see what these cards actually do. So this card is called Morgana, the Witch of Eyes. And this card is a level 4 dark spellcaster effect monster with 1500 attack and 2100 defense points. And this card is always treated as a Morganite card. And you can only use the first and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. For the first effect, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can actually add a Morganite spell from your deck to your hand, and when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can banish a Morganite spell from the graveyard to negate the attack. That's actually a pretty cool ability, so you can actually protect your monsters. And for the third effect, if you have 3 or more Morganite spells with different names in your graveyard or banishment, you can make the attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls 0, which is actually an insane ability, just to drop your opponent's monsters down to 0 so we can swing in for a game, because now we might actually have a Morganite archetype, which is actually really cool. So we do have another new Morganite spell card as well, and this card is called Guilt Gripping Morganite, and it is a normal spell card with the first effect that for the rest of the duel, apply the following effect. I really think these Morganite cards are really cool because it gives a whole new meaning to the game, and it's really interesting. So for the first effect, you cannot activate monster effects in the hand, meaning you cannot use hand traps, which is actually really interesting. For the second effect, you can normal summon level 5 or higher monsters without tributing. That just completely eliminates tribute summoning, and the first thing that comes to mind is actually normal summoning out cards like Vanity's Fiend, Majesty's Fiend, and Vanity's Ruler is actually going to be insanely easy now, and that's actually going to be crazy. That is actually a really crazy effect. It's just a lot of big boss monsters that are just locked behind this card, or locked behind tribute summoning, and now they aren't because of this card. This card actually might even be really interesting in Steel Swarm of all things, which would be really cool. For the third effect, you can actually do not have to pay life points to activate spell and trap cards. I'm not sure where that's actually going to come into play. It might come into play with like the Solemn cards, and that's actually really cool, or even counter fairies, which would be really interesting. But overall, that's actually really neat to actually look up to see what other cards do not, so you're gonna have to pay for it, and now you don't have to pay life points to actually activate those cards, which is actually really neat, and I like that effect. For the second effect, you can banish this card in the graveyard, then reveal a Morganite card in your hand, place the revealed card on the bottom of the deck, and then draw a card, which is actually a really cool effect to be able to use, and I really like that overall. And also, Morgana is the witch and Elzet in the Play of the Diabell and Sinful Spool's Awakening, which is actually really interesting that this card is also a part of Sinful Spool's Awakening, and she's actually a part of the Sinful Spool's lore, now tying all of the different Morganite cards into the Sinful Spool's lore, which is so cool. Previously, I believe there was actually 4 Sinful Spools, and I could be wrong about this, but there's 4 different Azaminas, and there's 4 different Sinful Spools in the lore, which you guys can tell me about down in the comments down below. But I believe there should be one more Morganite card coming, because there should be 4 Morganite pieces for the Sinful Souls. I could be wrong, but that would be really interesting to actually see one more Morganite card. But you do see the 3 Morganites right here, and you do see the bird here, which could be the last Morganite, which would be actually really, really cool that she already had it, and she was actually in the process of capturing all the Morganites, which was actually really, really cool. Could be a part of like a season 2 of this, where they're actually using the Morganites for Diabellstar, which would be really, really cool. But it's also really neat to say that she was actually a part of LZ's lore and how LZ got free, because she fought the Azamina out of LZ, and the Azamina ended up latching on to her and turned her into Moa Regina, which is actually really cool. And then LZ actually turned into Diabellstar later on, which was really cool as she got older, and that's why she has 1 purple arm as a part of this, because it's a part of Moa Regina for the lore, which is actually super cool. I love that about Yu-Gi-Oh, that you can always see like different lore as a part of the cards, which is just so cool. And I always love seeing stuff like that. And the minute I saw this card, I was like, wait, that's a Diabellstar card. That's a part of that. She's the same one that's on Play the Diabell, which is why I wanted to go ahead and show you guys this on this video as well. But overall, I think these are going to be really interesting. I think this might be really cool in different decks, but keep in mind, some monsters still do need to be tribute summoned, but I do think that's going to be a really interesting effect. To get their effects, they have to be tribute summoned, but I really think that's going to be a really interesting effect overall to be able to use the cards like Vanity's Fiend, Majesty's Fiend, and even Vanity's Ruler. But I don't know exactly where I would put this card right now, besides maybe into weird decks that need the tribute summon or need to be able to summon out their monsters without tributing, into decks like maybe like Worm, or even playing them in different decks like maybe like Steel Swarm might be really interesting to actually see this card. And it might be really interesting to see different Morganite builds of different decks, to be able to play all 3 Morganites in one deck, to be able to make this really cool Morganite engine, which I think is what we're moving towards with this. If we get a way to like special summon her to our side of the field, we would easily be able to actually use the Morganite cards in the deck, which would be really, really cool, because it does have the ability, if it's normal or special summon, you get to add a Morganite spell from your deck to your hand. So you're definitely going to want to play your 3 in any deck that you're using the Morganite engine. But again, hopefully going forward, we do get a card that will allow us to special summon her, so we can take advantage of that ability to be able to just normal summon a monster without tributing, which is actually really, really cool. I really like that effect overall, to be able to just normal summon one of our monsters. But I feel like the hidden effect on this card that we're not paying attention to as much is this: you do not have to pay life points to activate spells and traps. I feel like that might come into play a bit more inside of like counter fairies and stuff like that. To be able to not pay for the solemn cards might be really interesting, and it just might be an insane effect to be able to use overall in different decks, to be able to just avoid paying costs. And also, that's just really insane. Like, it just locks you out of using hand traps, like monster hand traps, and we already have cards like the Dominus cards that we can basically use in substitute for those hand traps if you have the ability to play them, which is really, really nice. So you can use those cards instead of using the other cards, and you don't even really need the Dominus card so much with this effect to be able to just basically use the solemn cards, which is just insane. So that's going to do this one, guys. Definitely tell me what you think of this card down in the comments down below. I still think it's really cool that she actually turned into Moa Regina. I think that's a really cool lore aspect that we thought we were done with the Diabellstar lore, but apparently we're not. So that's going to do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell and there's income part notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.